Hello again everyone, this is Vincent and this is episode 7 of the Particulars Let's Play. Alright, so as you've probably noticed, many of these levels are kind of very similar to but slightly different from the levels in the first 5 chapters. Except we've now got to worry about the weak nuclear force. And we're also an antiparticle rather than a particle. Alright, so in this first level, we've got to put an anti-bottom quark in here. So to make an anti-bottom quark, what we can do is, using some data, we can take an anti-down plus a W minus to form an anti-charmed, then anti-charmed plus W plus to form an anti-bottom. Now, in order to do that, we need to get data, and again, we can get data by annihilating stuff. In this case, this neutron is anti-neutron. So, like the previous level, I don't know which chapter it was, you grab this anti-neutron now because you're an anti-down quark, and then shuffle it over to here, expel it in its general direction, collect the 3 data, then as an anti-down with 2 change units, you can expel a W plus, then reabsorb it, then expel another W plus, and reabsorb it again. Alright, so in this level, we've got to put a bottom quark in here. So to make a bottom quark, we've got to take a down quark, give it a W plus boson, and then give that charmed quark a W minus boson. Yes. So again, we've got to grab some data and feed it to the down quark. So, and again, we've got a bunch of antineutrons and neutrons to annihilate. So just note that because you yourself are one of the anti-down quarks making one of the antineutrons, there should always be one down quark left if you haven't been annihilated. Of course, you don't need to annihilate everything, but it does make things a bit easier. And just avoid getting shot up by flying quarks. So once we get enough data, let me just check the charge. Down quark plus a W plus. So we, as a anti-down quark with 2 change units, will firstly give off the W plus to form an anti-up and the W plus, and then as the anti-up, you can give off a W minus to turn back into the anti-down. Now I'm just going to find a down quark that's not in immediate danger of getting killed. I'll just reabsorb it just in case it disappears. And then just pull that over. And that should be enough. Okay, so in this level, we've got to put a top quark in the circle, and to make a top quark, we've got to upgrade an up quark with a W minus to a strange, and then the strange plus a W plus to the top quark. And as an anti-up, we can give off a W minus, and then we can, with another change unit, because we're anti-down now, we can give it a W plus to turn it into the top quark. So just be careful when it spawns because it can annihilate you. And hopefully it will last long enough that you can drag it in to the center. Oh, and you had to do that without annihilating with less than 2 annihilations. Alright, so again, this is your minefield level. So here we've got to put an anti-top quark into this circle, and to make an anti-top quark, we've got to take an anti-up, give it a -2/3, give it a W plus boson to turn into an anti-strange, and then an anti-strange plus a W minus boson to turn into an anti-top. Now, again, we've got to annihilate some more stuff to get data, and another thing is you might meet a few problems when you do this level, but it's not all failure. So one thing that might happen is you accidentally annihilate all the anti-ups. That's not a big deal, because remember that as an anti-down quark, you can turn into an anti-up by releasing a W plus boson, and assuming you don't absorb your own W plus boson. And then, as an anti-up, you can collect some more data, and then do that normal upgrade path. Another thing that might happen is you run out of data, you annihilate stuff and you didn't pick up enough data. If you have at least one change unit, so at least 2 data collected, then what you can do is you can release a W boson, and the W boson can decay into 3 data, i.e. the neutrino and the electron, or the other type, or their antiparticles. And you can collect the data, and that's a way of creating more data than you started with. Obviously, you have to do that without your W bosons being picked up by anything else, which is a bit difficult. Alright. Okay, it looks like I might accidentally annihilate everything. So I'll just turn into an anti-top. Collect that data before it disappears, and then collect my own bosons twice to turn into the anti-top. Okay, so this is another one of those keep population down, but this time you've got a whole bunch of things spawning, which are really, really annoying. So firstly, they're both neutral. This one's made up of 2 strangers and a charmed. I'm not exactly sure what you call this particle, but it's a baryon of some kind. And here you've got another neutral particle. So again, the key to this level is annihilating everything quickly, which is easier said than done because quarks tend to change type a lot, especially if they're large and they decay into different types. And only quarks and anti-quarks of the same type can annihilate. So pretty much what I like to do here is just grab this anti-particle thing and then kind of nudge it over to the particles, and hopefully when they decay they'll be of the same type and they can annihilate. I tend to want to keep particles large, because if you try and force decay some larger particles, that tends to make lots and lots of W bosons, and W bosons do count towards the count, which is not good. Yeah, there is a bit of luck as well in that level, like hoping that there aren't too many things. flying around. Okay, so in this level we've got to make a top quark, and to make that top quark, what we have is a strange quark and a charmed quark spawning. So ideally what will happen is I can decay this charmed quark into a W plus boson and a down quark. That's right. And then the W plus boson will hopefully hit the strange quark and turn it into a top quark. Now, obviously it can go wrong because a W minus boson might not hit exactly where I want it. Oh, that worked.